Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. By looking at the slide, you can easily make out that the topic of today's discussion is how to study biochemistry. My name is Professor Dr. Zahra Naz, and I'm going to discuss this topic, and we're going to see that how we can study biochemistry and what are the names of different books that are concerned with the study of biochemistry, and which book is considered the best for a particular topic, and how you can memorize the subject and how to check what has been learned by you. First of all, let me tell you one thing, that when you enter in a medical school or a medical college, basically we divide biochemistry into two portions, or you can say into 2 years. The first year is basically concerned with the general biochemistry, that's going to include the chemistries of different nutrients which have already been discussed in the previous lecture. That is the chemistry of carbohydrates, proteins, amino acids, lipids, and so on. And the second year is basically concerned with your metabolisms, how those things going to be metabolized inside the body. Moreover, we touched the topic of endocrinology, enzyme kinetics, and multiple topics. And enzyme kinetics is basically covered in the first year, and your the endocrinology is concerned in your, or has been covered in your second year. Okay, first of all, I'm going to discuss about the first year. And the first book which I'm going to consider over here is Harper, which has been found difficult by most of the students. They consider its language a bit harder for understanding purpose. But this is a very good book. Once you are in first year and you're talking about the chemistries, this is one of the best books that explains the chemistries of different nutrients in a very good manner. Basically, just have a look at the recent 31st edition of Harper. They have got, you can see over here, they have mentioned the water pH and amino acids. All the chemistries are there. Along with it, you can see they have described the metabolism simultaneously. They describe the chemistry of a nutrient, then they describe the metabolism of a nutrient. You can see it over here. Okay, now coming back to this book, when you talk about the Harper and when you talk about the chemistry, you find the structures, all the structures at one page, and those structures make it easier for you to understand that which group is attached at which position and what's happening inside the structure. Or you can say, for example, if you're talking about the chemistry of carbohydrates, you can see different forms of isomers. By looking at the different structures, they are made easy for you to understand. Similarly, whenever you talk about the chemistry of your nucleotides, you can find the structure, well explained structures over there. And whenever you talk about the chemistries in rest of the books, for example, we talk about the Lippincott Illustrated Reviews. It's a very good book, and in this book they have basically mentioned the chemistries in a very minute amount, or you can say they have given a minute detail of chemistries. They have given the classification, but not that specific as it's been mentioned in Harper. And nextly, you can see the contents of this book. This book is basically find easier by the students because they say the language is very easy in it and it's understandable to them. And you come on another book, this is the book that is liked most by me. Unfortunately, it's not the part of different type of curricula I have gone through, but it's a very good book named Medical Biochemistry by Dominic Zach and Baines. And this book, basically anyone who wants to introduce him or herself to the biochemistry subject, this book basically give you a generalized idea, and then they go in depth, and side by side they have given you different cases in the boxes, and that makes very easy for you to understand, especially the chapter of your pH chapter is beautifully explained in this book, and that is your water balance chapter, acid base balance chapter is explained beautifully in it. Otherwise, it's a very good book. And nextly, we have got a reference book, that's the Leninger, Principles of Biochemistry is there. They have explained your chemistries, and it is very good understanding the enzyme kinetics. It has explained beautifully the topic of enzymes in it, as well as your you can say that chapter of hemoglobin chapter is well explained in it. The structure of hemoglobin is, you can see the picture. They have explained the structure in by pictures, by showing the pictures in a beautiful manner. And another book which we use in our country, it's also a good book, that's Essentials of Medical Biochemistry. The two volumes of it. Volume one is for the chemistries, and enzyme kinetics and enzymes also been covered in this part. And the part two is for your second year, that is your metabolisms and endocrinology part has been covered in it. And this book is good in that manner because they have given you a vast view of classifications, whether it's enzyme classification, protein classification, or your enzyme classification. And moreover, they have given you the clinical importance of different components that are going to be formed or going to be present inside the body. Then coming to your second year section, in this case, whenever you're talking about the metabolisms, in case of the Harper, the main thing which I like the most in Harper is this: it has got the whole, you can say, the cycle or the metabolic pathway on one page. That makes easier for a student to understand by looking at the whole picture, or to memorize it, or to have it in the memory. They can easily do that. And again, you can say the chemistry part of different types of enzymes and their interactions with different types of poisons, and it's been explained very well in this book. And they have shown you the different pictures in which they have shown the interaction of those enzymes and those metals, and then again inhibition, or you can say stimulation of those enzymes has been explained well in this chapter. Similarly, we have got in case of the second year chapter, you can see in the chapter of the endocrinology, you can see you can have different pictures of different type of mechanism of actions and classification of different enzyme hormones is there, and they have described it very beautifully. Then again, we have got second book, your Lippincott comes after it. Students find the language of Lippincott very easy. They have a good understanding of this book. And though Harper do explain different types of clinical conditions, but Lippincott has gotten upper hand in this regard, that they have basically covered more the clinical aspect of it at every point. And basically this becomes easier for students to understand. And another thing in it is this, that the genetics topic has been covered in the Lippincott in a very easy and understanding manner. And if you ask me, I give 100 out of 100 to Lippincott if you're going through the genetics. And then we have got the third book, which I talked about, that was Medical Biochemistry by Dominic, Zach, and Baines. It's also a good book, and it's, if you want to go through a generalized idea of the metabolic pathways, they have got beautiful pictures that make you your by looking at it, you can memorize the pathway. And then we have got this volume 2 of biochemistry. Again, they have discussed in a very good and a detailed manner all the clinical conditions that are associated with your endocrinological disorders, and as well as they have covered vitamins and minerals associated with diseases in a very detailed manner, the manner in which the rest of the books have not covered. though Harper has added in the new edition the transition metals. And um, hope so that these things would help you out. And remember this thing: if you are learning biochemistry, don't just memorize it, try to understand it. If you understand the receptors mechanism of action, for example, it would become easy for you to understand in your coming years, to understand the mechanism of action of different drugs in pharmacology. Similarly, if you are going through different metabolic pathways, try to understand that which enzyme is going to um, work over there, or if that enzyme is absent, or why it's absent. If you're going to understand this thing, then it would become much easier for you to learn and memorize biochemistry. And you are supposed to concentrate on the structures for your better understanding. And if you understand the structure, then it would become very easy for you. Similarly, once you learn it, just try to discuss it with someone else, or just try to read it out your own self, or just close the book and then just remember, try to recall what you have learned. That's going to make your life very easy. Also, try to go through those pictures, especially which are given at the end of the chapter, or in every book. You will find it very easy to memorize what you have gone through the whole chapter. Similarly, in case of your Lipin court, they have given beautiful charts which make your life easy, especially for students. Similarly, try to associate different diseases. If you understand this thing, it will help you out in your future years of upcoming medicine subject, and it will help you a lot. Hope so that you are going to find this video and this presentation helpful for yourself. Thank you very much.